Let me begin with a question that many students and instructors experience in online and blended learning. Why do some courses feel engaging and meaningful, while others feel isolating? This is not just about technology or content. It's really about whether learners feel connected, supported, and able to think deeply with others. And that's why learning communities matter. Today, I will use the Community of Inquiry framework to explain what makes online learning meaningful, and I will show how flipped classrooms can support that kinds of learning experience. So my topic is Community of Inquiry model of its application in flipped classroom. The focus here is not only understanding the model theoretically, but also using it as a lens to examine how flipped learning creates the conditions for deep learning through interaction, inquiry, and community. Before we begin, here's what I mean to accomplish in this presentation. First, I will briefly introduce the origins of the COI model. Then, I will explain its three presences and how we can observe them using key categories and indicators. After that, I will introduce the flipped classroom model and finally connect the two by showing how flipped learning can function as a community of inquiry. The COI model was developed by Garrison, Anderson, and Archer, and it was first introduced in 2000. Here is their pictures, and they were studying online and blended learning environments, especially learning that happens through computer-mediated communication. Their key question was, when learners interact online through discussion and reflection, how does meaningful learning actually take place? So from the beginning, COI was designed to explain how learning emerges through collaborative inquiry, not just context delivery. This brings us to the core idea of COI framework. COI is a social constructivist framework that explains deep learning in online and blended learning environments. It argued that meaningful learning happens when learners engage in sustained reflection, purposeful discourse, and share meaning-making within a supportive community. Most importantly, COI emphasizes that deep learning emerges from the intersection and independence of three presences: social, teaching, and cognitive presence. Now, instead of thinking of these presences as separate pieces, and it helps to understand them as a process. Social present create a sense of belonging and trust. Teaching present provides structure, guidance, and facilitation. And cognitive present represents the actual dependence of deep thinking and understanding. In other words, meaningful learning becomes possible when these presents work together, not independently. Let's start with social presence. Social presence is the ability of learners to project themselves as real people in a learning community. It was reduced isolation as made interaction feel safe and meaningful. In online setting, this presence becomes especially important because without it, students may disengage, avoid discussion, or feel disconnected. Social presence builds trust, supports collaboration, and creates a welcoming climate where inquiry can actually happen. But social connection alone doesn't guarantee learning. That's where teaching present comes in. Teaching present to how learning is designed, facilitated, and directed to support meaningful outcomes. It can include organizing activities, facilitating discussion, and providing direct instruction when needed. More importantly, teaching present acts as the coordinating force that connects interaction to learning goals. It ensures that discussion becomes productive and that learners move toward deeper understanding rather than staying at the surface level. When social present and teaching present are established, learners can develop cognitive present. Cognitive present refers to learner constructing meaning through system reflection and discourse. It represents critical thinking and higher order learning, which is finally what deep learning looks like in the COI framework. The model describes cognitive development through the practical inquiry process, moving from triggering questions to exploration, interaction, and finally resolution. So cognitive presence is not a single moment, it's a procession of inquiry. At this point, you may ask how can we actually observe whether these presences are happening. That's why the COI framework provides categories and indicators. For example, cognitive present can be identified through parsement, information exchange, connecting ideas, and applying new concepts. Social present shows up through emotional expression, open communication, and group cohesion. Teaching present is observed through clear topic organization, facilitating meaning-making, and focusing discussion. These indicators make COI more than a theory; they make it a practical tool for evaluating and designing learning communities. A free classroom reverses the traditional sequences of instruction. Instead of using class time for content delivery, students learn foundational content before class. Often through video or readings, then class time is used for interaction, discussion, collaboration, and problem solving. Another key idea is that flipped learning supports two levels of play. Class focuses on lower order skills like remembering and understanding, while in-class activities focus on higher order skills like applying and creating. This is where everything comes together. The flipped classroom aligns naturally with COI because it creates the conditions where all three presences can emerge across learning phases. Pre-class learning builds foundational understanding and often serves as a cognitive trigger. It prepares students for inquiry. In-class learning fosters interaction and collaboration, which strengthens social presence, while the instructor structures activity and facilitation represent teaching presence. In this way, flipped learning shapes education from content delivery to collaboration, and deep learning emerges when social teaching and connected presence intersect. If we look specifically at social presence, flipped learning supports it in both phases. Before class, learners can engage in online discussion around materials, which help them begin forming connections. During class, they participate in group discussions and peer collaboration, which strengthens belonging and reduces isolation. As a result, flipped classroom often deliver strangers learning communities with higher engagement and more active participation. Teaching present becomes very visible in flipped learning because the instructor role extends beyond lecturing. Before class, teaching present appears through the intentional design of videos, quizzes, and guiding questions. During class, it appears through facilitating discussing and providing adaptive feedback. So teaching present is not only about direct instruction. It also enables designing and guiding the learning process so that inquiry can happen meaningfully. Finally, cognitive present is supported by the inquiry structure of free learning. Pre-class context often triggers curiosity and supports early exploration. The in-class discussion allows learners to connect ideas and integrate understanding with others. Finally, application-based tests promote resolution, where learners apply knowledge to authentic problems. So, fleet learning supports the full inquiry circle, not just engagement, but deeply cognitive development. Of course, this approach has both strengths and limitations. The benefits include deeper learning, because students move from theory before class to application in class. It also offers flexibility, supporting diverse learners and increasing motivation and autonomy, and it can reduce transactional distance by fostering communities. However, challenges exist. Students may prepare unevenly. Social interaction may be lower during individual visits, and fleet learning requires significant instructional design effort, meaning strength teaching presence is needed from the start. To conclude, the COI model provides a logical and powerful framework for understanding how fleet classrooms support meaningful learning. The key takeaway is that effective fleet learning depends on integrating individual preparation with collaborative inquiry, so learners can bridge the gap between theory and practice. In the future, it may be valuable to explore additional presences like emotional or learner presence to strengthen motivation and to adapt the model for larger classes or fully online contents. Thank you for listening. I will be happy to discuss how COI can be applied in different course contexts, or how fleet learning can be designed to support inquiry and community more effectively. Thank you.